Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Rhonda Farrell, the founder of Cstgia, bringing you week 20 from strategic cyber dominance to strategic cyber permanence, institutionalizing advantage across time, infrastructure, and AI-driven power. We have moved through a deliberate and increasingly mature cyber leadership evolution over the last 10 weeks. And now week 20 addresses the next defining question. Once cyber dominance is achieved, how do organizations ensure it persists across decades, leadership transitions, geopolitical instability, infrastructure disruption, and AI acceleration? Because in 2026, advantage wins moments, dominance shapes conditions, but permanence, well, that determines enduring power. So the 2026 reality is that the cyber battlefield is becoming structural. Global cyber events through 2026 are revealing a deeper strategic shift. Cybersecurity is no longer simply an operational discipline, a technical capability, or even a resilience strategy. It is now becoming a national infrastructure strategy, economic positioning, AI governance architecture, digital sovereignty, and long-term strategic permanence. We are seeing nation-state competition over semiconductor ecosystems, AI infrastructure becoming geopolitical leverage, energy availability influence cyber capability, cloud concentration creating systemic dependency, sovereign AI initiatives emerging globally, workforce shortages affecting national cyber readiness, and digital trust becoming foundational to institutional legitimacy. The implication is clear. Cyber superiority is no longer temporary technical advantage. It is becoming long duration strategic positionings. The emerging risk is that dominance without permanence causes all sorts of problems because many organizations are now capable of shaping cyber conditions, influencing ecosystems, directing operational environments, and sustaining asymmetric advantage, but they still struggle to preserve those advantages over time, meaning that capability depends on current leadership. Infrastructure remains eternally dependent. Workforce durability is fragile. Governance maturity varies, and AI acceleration outpaces institutional adaptation. This creates the next maturity gap, strategic dominance without permanence, and history repeatedly shows that systems that cannot sustain advantage eventually lose it. The next evolution is strategic cyber permanence. To lead beyond 2026, organizations must evolve yet again from strategic cyber dominance to strategic cyber permanence. This means building systems that sustain cyber superiority across generations, preserve strategic positioning through disruption, institutionalize governance and operational discipline, align infrastructure to long-term resilience, and ensure AI-enabled advantage compounds instead of erodes. Permanence is where dominance becomes enduring strategic power, because what strategic cyber permanence actually looks like is, well, what it's not is static control, invulnerability, or technological monopoly. What it is the ability to sustain advantage despite changing conditions, preserving institutional trust across time, maintaining infrastructure sovereignty, adapting continuously without losing strategic coherence, and institutionalizing resilience beyond individual leaders. Permanence is not about surviving disruption once. It's about ensuring advantage compounds through disruption repeatedly. Well, there are 5 moves to building strategic cyber permanence, from infrastructure access to infrastructure sovereignty. Infrastructure is no longer background capability. It is now strategic power. This includes AI compute ecosystems, semiconductor manufacturing, cloud architecture, communications networks, satellite systems, energy resilience, and operational technology platforms, because high-performing organizations and nations are increasingly asking, who controls the infrastructure we depend on? Are we strategically exposed? And which dependencies could become coercion points? The shift is from consuming infrastructure to strategically positioning through it. From AI deployment to AI institutionalization, many organizations are experimenting with AI. Fewer are institutionalizing it responsibly. Strategic permanence requires durable AI governance, explainable operational models, continuous validation systems, workforce AI literacy, and policy structures that evolve with technology, because AI capability without governance creates instability over time. Leading organizations are designing AI operating principles, escalation authorities, auditability frameworks, and trust-centered AI architectures. The shift is from AI experimentation to AI civilization infrastructure. Number 3, from cyber workforce capacity to cyber workforce continuity. Cyber permanence is impossible without workforce durability. The challenge is no longer simply hiring talent. It is sustaining expertise, preserving institutional memory, developing leadership pipelines, reducing burnout, and creating continuous capability renewal. High-performing organizations are increasingly integrating cyber education ecosystems, building internal academies, aligning to NICE workforce models, expanding cross-functional cyber literacy, and designing long-term workforce resilience strategies. The shift from staffing cyber to sustaining cyber capability across generations. 4, from resilience architecture to trust architecture. In AI-enabled environments, trust becomes strategic infrastructure. Organizations must now preserve decision integrity, operational transparency, governance consistency, accountability, and public confidence continuously. This includes explainable AI systems, governance traceability, decision memory, operational consistency, and transparent escalation pathways, because institutions that lose trust eventually lose operational authority. The shift is from securing systems to sustaining institutional legitimacy. 5, from tactical survival to strategic legacy. The stronger cyber organizations in the future will not simply survive attacks, but rather recover quickly or defend the infrastructure. They will shape standards, policies, ecosystems, workforce models, and operational norms for decades. Why? Because permanence requires leadership continuity, disciplined governance, ecosystem influence, infrastructure investment, and strategic patience. And strategic permanence is where cybersecurity becomes civilian infrastructure. So our workforce reality is that permanence is a leadership system. Strategic cyber permanence is not purely technical. It is structural, organizational, geopolitical, economic, and leadership driven. It requires executives who understand cyber as national and organizational power, leaders who design systems that outlast them, governance models that hold under transition, and workforces capable of adapting continuously without destabilization. Because in 2026, cyber resilience is operational, cyber dominance is strategic, and cyber permanence is institutional. So the strategic implications for 2026 are as follows. Organizations that achieve strategic cyber permanence will sustain advantage across leadership transitions, preserve trust under continuous disruption, maintain infrastructure resilience and positioning, institutionalize AI governance responsibly, retain workforce durability and institutional memory, influence ecosystems and standards long-term, operate with strategic continuity across decades. Organizations that do not will depend on temporary capability advantages, lose control during transition periods, experience governance erosion over time, struggle to sustain workforce expertise, become dependent on external infrastructure control, and lose strategic positioning as ecosystems evolve. The difference is no longer resilience alone. The difference is whether strategic advantage endures. So, in our week 20 reflection, ask yourself which cyber capabilities in our organization depend too heavily on individuals? Which infrastructure dependencies threaten long-term resilience? How durable is our AI governance model? Would our systems sustain capability across major leadership transitions? Are we building temporary cyber advantage or institutional permanence? What elements of our cyber strategy will still hold 5 years from now? If the answers are unclear, permanence has not yet been designed. So our week 20 action is conduct a strategic cyber permanence assessment. Identify one mission critical capability, AI operations, cloud infrastructure, workforce pipeline, governance system, operational technology environment, or cyber leadership function. Evaluate, would it endure prolonged disruption? Would it survive leadership turnover? Is institutional memory preserved? Is governance durable and traceable? Are dependencies strategically acceptable? And does capability improve over time or decay? Then take one action, strengthen one long-term dependency, institutionalize one governance structure, reinforce one workforce continuity pathway, or reduce one strategic exposure, because permanence is built before instability arrives. So what comes next? Well, in week 21, we're going to be moving to talking about strategic cyber civilization, how AI, cyber governance, infrastructure, energy, workforce, and trust systems converge into long duration societal operating models, and why the future of cyber leadership will increasingly shape civilization scale resistance. Our closing thought for today is the cybersecurity challenge of the past was protection. The challenge of the present is resilience. The challenge of the future, well, that's permanence. Because in 2026, we are not simply defending systems, directing outcomes, or shaping environments. We are building systems designed to endure across time, disruption, leadership change, and technological acceleration. And the organizations that lead will not simply achieve cyber dominance, they will ensure their advantage persists long after conditions change. Again, this is Dr. Rhonda Farrell, the founder of Cyber and STEAM Global Innovation Alliance, wrapping up week 20 from from strategic cyber dominance to strategic cyber permanence, institutionalizing advantage across time, infrastructure, and AI-driven power.